Sometimes we capture things so shocking that we have to share them, like when this brawl happened or when this discovery was made. But first, here's something to scare you. Number 10. Rude awakening. It's one thing to capture lions on your trail cam doing what they usually do out in the wild, but it's another when your trail camera accidentally captures the night a pride of them lurked around your camp. Then again, you probably don't need video evidence of it happening if you were awake the whole time. A bunch of unhappy campers suffered a rude awakening when a bunch of lions invaded their camp. Thankfully, it seemed like the pride wasn't all too interested in hunting them down, because otherwise the lion's sharp claws would probably tear through the tent fabric. I mean, how could they not have noticed that guy in the tent? He's moving around so much that they probably detected the noise. He keeps fiddling with the zipper too, like that'll help if they decide to pounce at him. In the end, the campers did survive, but not without a few frights. That lion did seem like it was getting closer and closer to wanting to eat them after all. Look at that tent shake. Number 9. Bear fight. Holy sheesh. Apparently, we're not the only ones in danger when in the vicinity of bears. Other bears could get attacked by their kind too. At least they're built to withstand each other's strikes, right? Right. These two are duking it out after one recently awoke from hibernation. You see, one of them found a food stash before the other did, but since both of them are incredibly hungry, instead of sharing, they decided the proper way of determining who gets to eat is by fighting. Oh man, that's more energy spent, but that's the way of bears, I guess. Plus, they are pretty territorial. Watch as they slap and punch each other willy-nilly. Sometimes they bite each other too. I'm amazed I don't see any blood spilling. Either way, I'm pretty sure the black bear had it rough because after a few seconds, he started hiding in a tree. Who could blame him? The brown bear seems considerably bigger than him. Well, at least by the end of the fight, both seem to have settled down, though I wonder who won the food. Number 8. Hungry owls. Owls are the symbol of wisdom. However, if you ask me, they should be the symbol of determination instead, because nothing will make these guys back off from a good meal. They're so determined when hunting that it doesn't matter whether they look silly or get hurt. This one in particular slammed hard against a mailbox when it swooped down to get its prey. Poor bunny. That owl came in prepared for a brawl, even with a probably sprained wing. But you know what? Sometimes even determination won't matter in the face of alert prey. This rabbit minded its own business one night by looking for things to eat when it heard something off. At this point, we all assume what's about to happen, but lo and behold, it jumps out of harm's way a split second before the owl's talons can catch it. After it sees its predator, the bunny leaps quickly and far to stay alive. That owl will have to look for another animal to eat because that rabbit won't go down easily, if at all. Number 7. Climbing for food. Tigers are really something. Not only are they masters of camouflage, but they're also great at climbing. No wonder they're apex predators. It's also all the more reason to be wary of approaching one, whether in the wild or a savanna. Look, these guys are climbing poles like it's nothing to eat. Mind you, those giant scratching posts are about 4 to 5 meters tall. If you ask me to try and get up that thing, I assure you, I will fall on my butt as fast as the guys did in Mulan, and that's considering I weigh less than them. Props to you if you guys can do what these tigers do. Aside from that, I have no idea why there is even tiger food up poles. Apparently, it was developed in the Glasgow Zoo in the UK more than 20 years ago. But aside from safety reasons, I don't really understand its practicality. Wouldn't it be easier to just chuck the meat towards them? You can still keep a distance that way. But what I do know, I'd be too scared to prep food for it either way. Number 6. An unlikely friendship. Things are not always as they seem. When we put a leopard and a cow together, everyone would think that the cattle would turn into raw steak. However, that's not what happened here. In a village somewhere in Pakistan, residents were scared. Every night a leopard came into their area. Was it hunting something? Did it have its eyes set on a specific person? Believe it or not, the answer to that is no. Turns out this leopard was visiting his cow friend every night. Of course, the villagers didn't find this out by stalking it. Instead, they placed a camera inside the shed. When they monitored what happened, it turned out that the two would cuddle together all night long, with the cow sometimes feeding the leopard its milk. No wonder it didn't attack anyone. Sadly, villagers still want to scare the leopard from ever entering their properties again, afraid that one day the leopard may find a child and decide it is hungry for meat. I can feel the cow's heartbreak from way over here. Number 5. Breaking bones. We always fear breaking one of our bones. After all, it's one of the most painful experiences a person can have. But you know what? It's not a universal experience. Look at this deer and elk shed theirs like it's no big deal. Granted, the one fella got scared of the sound of his falling off. So why isn't it scary for our cervid friends? Well, you see, it's because of their testosterone levels. During the spring and summer months, antlers grow due to the increase in testosterone. Around the fall, these antlers then harden, especially around October to early November. Come December though, when their testosterone level starts to decrease, the connective bone tissue is removed by a bone cell called osteoclast, thus resulting in the shedding of the antlers. It's all biology. And don't be surprised if one antler falls while the other doesn't, because sometimes it just happens that way. Oh, and it's not painful for them either. It's refreshing to them when this happens. They'll grow it back soon enough, like when a guy grows a beard. Number 4. Wendigo Scream. Imagine this, you're out in the woods having a peaceful time mushroom gathering when you hear a scream. Your first thought may be that someone is in trouble, right? But when you think on it a little more, given its unusually low voice, it may have been something else. Something sinister. Especially since you're in the woods with no one else around. That happened to one mushroom gatherer while picking a few to take home. While focusing on a huge mushroom he found, a scream echoed throughout the forest. The guy was frozen at first, but after the noise he calmly turned and walked away. That's a smart move, especially if the sound came from a Wendigo. Wendigos are evil spirits based in the Great Plains region of America and the East Coast forests of Canada. It's said to be able to possess human beings and that it has insatiable hunger and desire to cannibalize other humans. Well, that and wanting to murder in general. Hoo boy, good thing this man didn't stick around to find out what it was. Time for today's best pick. What's the worst predator you can think of? It doesn't have to be something natural. Do you have an image in mind? Find out if it's the same predator this deer is running from next. Number 3. Paranormal Deer Hunter. If you got scared by the last entry, then prepare yourself for this one. A demon was caught chasing a deer. I know, that sounds like a clickbait tagline. But look, doesn't that thing on the right, whatever it is, look like a demon? If it's not a demon, what else could it be? Some dude chasing a deer in a Halloween costume? He must be dead drunk then to attempt something like that, given how fast those things are. If it's not that, then the alternate train of thought would be that it's photoshopped. But here's the thing, the blurriness of both creatures is the same. It feels like it's the actual footage. Could it be then that there's some deformed creature we're not aware of? I don't know. There are too many possibilities to say what's really going on in this photo. But one thing's for sure, it's more fun and terrifying to imagine that unknown entity as a demon. Number 2. Back from the dead. For all the difficulty we've been through the past few years thanks to the virus, some good news finally came around. Or rather, some good news is finally spreading. A mouse deer has finally been spotted in Vietnam for the first time in 3 decades. The discovery made scientists ecstatic. They never expected it to still be out there after its extended absence. The mouse deer, also known as the silverback chevrotain, is a half-painted animal. It has a russet head, silver-grey colorings on its neck and legs, and a cute white grizzled bottom. Though it's believed that this species was preyed on by jungle predators such as leopards, wild dogs, and pythons, scientists fear that hunter snares also did a great deal of damage that pushed the species to the brink of extinction. Now, after confirming that they're still alive, there have been increased calls for swift action to protect what remains of its population, with one of the proposed actions being to reduce the use of snares. He is hoping it all goes well, because if it does, other animals will benefit too. Number 1. Ghost dog. Have you ever heard of something so rare that people just dubbed it a ghost? If not, I introduce you to the ghost dog of the Amazon, the short-eared dog. This trail cam was so lucky to capture its image. This species was first introduced in 1883 and is considered the only species of the Atelocynus genus. Due to how rare it was, biologists spent over a century in the dark about this animal. This changed, however, when researcher Renata Leiter-Pittman conducted a long-term study on these creatures. And you know what? A semi-wild short-eared dog named Oso even guided her. Still, even with that good fortune, it was a daunting task. It took Leiter-Pittman over 10 years to piece together a chunk of the canine's behavior. One of the most surprising things she found out? It's that while the dog prefers meat when it's available, they love eating fruit too. They also play an essential role in the ecosystem by dispersing the seeds of many vital plants. They are definitely good boys, even when they're barely heard of.